Given last year's popularity of this fly, we've got some requests on how to tie the Chubby Chernobyl. It's an Idlewild and Montana Fly Company fly, and this is the salmon fly version that I'm going to tie today. Start with the Dairiki 710. This is a size 6. Time in size 6s and 8s. The 8s being the golden and the 6 being the salmon fly. I'm using Uni 6/0. And go ahead and start your thread, move it to the rear, and clip off 4 or 5 strands of crystal flash. This is brown. Tie it in and then double it over for your tail. And you're going to clip it a little short so I can actually manage it a little better. And I'm going to tie in our body. This is UV frog's hair from Montana Fly in the salmon fly color. It's not a traditional orange like you might expect. It's kind of like a rust and black mixed, but it works really well for adult salmon flies, at least this color. And this stuff kind of dubs loose, and so you gotta really make sure to dub this frog's hair pretty tight. I'm going to build a pretty thick body. These bugs are not slender by any means. Continue up the hook until we get our body up next to the eye. Okay, we got our body dubbed. Now I'm just going to wet finish this off. I'm going to start my thread again on the rear here. And you want to leave a little bit of your body dubbing, as you can see. I'm going to take a piece of foam. This is about a 1/4 inch wide. I'm going to lay it on top. I'm just going to make now once I made a couple wraps, I'm going to tie my legs. I'm using speckled sexy floss from Montana Fly. You can use rubber. I really like the flexi floss and variations of that a lot. And all these will have like a natural curvature to them. And so I like to tie them in to where it curves in back towards the fly. So tying it on either side and just a couple wraps. I got this one backwards, let's see. Okay, got our legs secure. I'm going to take some parapost. This is white. I'm going to double it over on the thread. And I'm just going to tie it in up top here. Make a couple wraps to really secure it in there well. I'm going to take a little bit more of my dubbing, and this you're going to want to be nice and thin. I'm going to dub over where my thread wraps were. I'm going to move my thread up towards the front, and I'm going to leave a little dubbing for the head as well as I did the rear here. I'm going to take my foam, I'm going to tie it down on the front. I'm going to tie my front set of legs in just like I did the rears. I'm going to take another piece of parapost, double it over, tie that on top, make a couple wraps over it to secure it really well. And add a little more dubbing once again. Move it to the head. And I'll whip finish it. Now the tail, I'm going to cut a little long. I'm going to cut my crystal flash to match, so I don't get my rubber in the way there. Now the wing, I'm going to fold back, clip that even. And I'm going to make a little head on the front. Round out the edges. Now I'm going to clip my legs. Just like all the stone dries and everything, I would say to leave them a little long at the vise. That way if you're getting refusals, you can always trim them down on the river. But it gives you that option. Sometimes the fish want a lot of legs and buggy and all that, and sometimes they just refuse it. So it's better to have the option to clip them down on the river if you're still getting refused. And I always just kind of comb this wing out a little bit. And there it is. The Chubby Chernobyl. Really easy to see. When you put floating on this, put a lot on the wing and slick it back. It'll fish really well with that wing slicked back versus really up on top like that. It seems to fish best when you slick that wing back with floating. Very effective fly on the shoots for the salmon fly hatch. You can also tie it in gold for the golden stones.